Srinivasa. Last class we went through with the chapter 2 and saw about 2 or 3 verses there where we saw Arjuna was, even in spite of Krishna cautioning him about his train of thoughts and telling him that he was behaving or thinking like a coward and that he should actually revise his thoughts again. But in spite of all that, he was quite determined in his mind that what he is doing is not the right thing. He felt that for his personal pleasure, personal accomplishments of maybe kingdom and wealth, he should not be killing his seniors, killing his cousins, or all the other people who are assembled in the opposite army. And his attachment towards his teacher and his grandfather was very much, and so he did not want to lose them. In return, if he's getting the riches also, he says that even if I get everything and I win it also, I'm not so keen to enjoy it because it will be tainted. I'd always be reminded that this palace that I'm enjoying is actually after killing my own people. So I'm really not keen on this, is what his mind was like. It was not letting him to take any other decision other than no war, no war. So still he continues. And you saw in the 3 verses how much he was feeling for that. Now, after all this, and Krishna did not say anything, he was just looking at Arjuna. Then Arjuna wanted to say something else. I mean, if we find someone who's very calm when we are in a very big turmoil, then we think that, okay, this person might have some solution to this, that I have this problem. And that person doesn't seem to be at all perturbed. He's so calm and not affected by anything that I've said so far. That means maybe there's some other solution which I'm not actually getting at. So the best thing is to ask him, to ask her, whatever it is. That's what we also think in our situations. So here Arjuna was looking at Krishna, who was calmly sitting there. He was in fact smiling, is what we come to see later on. He was just looking at Arjuna calmly. And Arjuna was so frustrated, so like trembling, and his face was sweating. He was not knowing what to do. So finally, he decides to seek Krishna's help. After all, we saw last week that he went all the way to Dwaraka to seek the help of Krishna. He had already sought him, and maybe in his inner mind, he had this feeling that he would require the counsel of Krishna to do well in the war. Now it has come in so much handy that he chose Krishna instead of the Narayani Sene. He looks at Krishna and then he tells. That is the verse we have to do today. It's the 7th verse of the 2nd chapter. Karpanya doshopatah swabhavah prichami tvam dharma sammudachetah yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. He says that my natural behavior patterns, my natural thought processes, everything has been clouded with lot of other kinds of thinking. Now the distress that I am feeling tells me that I might be wrong in my thought processes. I might be wrong in thinking in this manner. So can you please tell me, he says, can I ask you something? I feel I'm deluded. I don't know which is dharma, which is adharma, what has to be done according to the moral principles and what should not be done. So I beg of you, can you please point out to me and teach me what I should do? What is good for me? Shreyaha means what is good for me, not just in this life, but always, he says. So Nishchitam, it should be something which I should be assured of. If I want to choose that option, I should feel in my mind that this is the right option for me. So please tell me in such a manner that I will be convinced of the truth, that what you are saying is the right thing to do. Then if you want knowledge from someone, you have to seek the knowledge. In ancient India, there was always this concept of Shishya and Guru. And Guru has to be respected by the Shishya. So these concepts might be new to Gauri and Gayatri, who have not studied much in India. But the thing is, the teacher has a very elevated position, even now in India, in schools at least. But in the olden days, in the Gurukula and other places, the Guru was considered like the most, like, the best and the respected person. Whatever he said, the disciple was supposed to do, whatever it may be. And the Gurus were of that kind. They were of very, very elevated thinking. They had lot of accomplishments in knowledge, and they could actually give them that knowledge which could uplift them from the mires of this world, like whatever grief or sadness, fear, everything. So they used to be well respected. Same way, Arjuna, he seeks Krishna's help. So what he has to do? He's telling, I will be your Shishya. Shishyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. I am surrendered to you. I will listen to what you say. That means surrendered means I want to listen I want to hear what you have to say on this, and I want to follow also what you say on this. So I'm surrendering myself. So in fact, he says, I even say that please command me. So you can see a kind of progression. Initially, he says, just tell me what is the best for me. Then he says, just command me what I should do. Then he says, I am surrendered to you. Whatever you command me, I will do it. That's what. The final thing is that you can say anything, you can command anything, but the person has to be ready to do it. That is what Arjuna's state is now. He has now come to a state of mind where he is ready to follow what Krishna says. That is most important. We can listen to any number of things, any number of solutions, but there's nothing that we want to follow it. If we don't have a mind to follow it, then we are not going to do it. So he tells Krishna, I am surrendered at your feet. I'm surrendering myself at your feet. Please let me know the right thing, command me, and I will do that, he says. So this is the requirement for the Guru to impart knowledge. Unless and until the person is ready, there's no point in teaching also. If the person is ready, then he will receive the knowledge. Otherwise, there's no point in telling any number of things. And you can see the progression of the verses. Krishna has not uttered even one word as a some kind of upadesha or a command or a teaching. He just is looking at him and waiting for him to get ready. He's been telling all sorts of things. Now let him say that I want to find out what is the right thing. Since I seem to be confused, let me find out. So once he said that, then what happens? That is the next verse. Next verse, still Arjuna is talking. He wants to come to a firm state of mind about what he thinks and present it to Krishna. That he has already told in so many verses about his mind state. But now he says one more thing. Like he says, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yachoka muchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatna mritam rajyam suranamapi chadipatyam. He's saying, I'm engulfed with grief. All my indriyas, they are not having any kind of strength. When a grief envelops any person, they don't know what they're doing. They don't listen to what people are saying. Their eyes are not seeing what has to be seen. So this is the state that I'm yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam. His indriyas means eyes, ears, all our means sense organs which give us information about the outer world. He's saying it's completely clouded. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. I don't know. I don't understand anything because I'm clouded with grief. I'm not able to think outside that. And so one thing I can think to myself is that any situation, however nice and wonderful it might seem to anyone else, doesn't seem to me as an option for to do this kind of thing by which I will be even more in grief. Just thinking about killing my grandfather and teacher makes me so sad. Even if people are ready to give me the entire lands without any fear. I mean, just they give me more and more, like all the whole world is my land to be the emperor about, or even the devatas are surrendered to me, saying that we will follow you, Arjuna. Even that I'm not interested, he says. I don't think that is going to make me happy, he says. Anything here that people can give me, it will not make me happy. He went to the extent to say that even if someone says that okay, you can be the ruler of all the devatas, means the devatas are all like senior people like jivas who control others, like they have Indra, Kama, and so many other devatas are there, Rudra, Garuda, and all. So if all these devatas also were to be subservient to me, I mean, that's such a very big thing for him to get. But he's saying that I don't think that's going to help me in any way. I'm not going to be like happy because of that. So I feel that anything is not good enough to fight this war. So much is my grief that I can't see anything and I'm totally confused. So he is putting a final statement as to why he is seeking this counsel from Krishna. He is again reiterating his state of mind, and he is clearly telling him that anything, like if Krishna says, see, it's okay if you fight the war, you will get the kingdom. He wants to tell him off that this and all is not going to work. That if I am going to get the kingdom, I'm not going to work for that. I'm not going to fight for that. If you tell me that even you can conquer the whole world and you can even conquer the Suras world, I'm not going to be interested in that also. That means he's not interested in the riches. Any selfish gains, he's not interested in that. So what is he interested in? He is now right correctly, he is only looking at his grandfather and his teacher, whom he loves a lot. So his emotions are involved in this decision. That is what is very clear. When we take an emotional decision about anything, it need not be right. This is the message we get. So when you want to take a decision and it should be right, then you should not be emotionally involved in it. You have to be aware. You means your mind should not be in a turmoil of any type. It should not be affected by grief or anger. It should not be affected by despair or even hope. Any type of things like which will tend to make you fall for one decision. Whereas the decision may be true, it may be good, it may not be good, but we may not know it. Only if you are away from that state of mind where you are engulfed by emotions, then only you can take a proper decision. This is clearly seen. So in that case, that surrender to the Guru will help us to improve our state of mind. It will help us to find the solutions to our problems also. So this is the verse that we till here I thought that we could do today, and then we can continue in the